కొంచెం దగ్గరలో పెట్టుకోరా, ఇదే మనకు లైవ్లో వెళ్తుంది.
ఓకే, నా గడ్డం ఉంది కాబట్టి అది
కంటి షీల్డ్ లాగా పనిచేస్తుంది.
Practical session, afternoon practical session. I can see the interest, though the weather is not conducive, humidity is too high. Still all the students came before time. It's not even 1:58 as of now. Still 1:59. So exactly we started 2 o'clock. I'm so happy and thankful to all the students. Though it is a schedule so hectic, I can see your enthusiasm, your interest in learning new things, great things, and you can see senior most physicians with 50 plus years of experience. Both the doctors are sitting like students, and this itself is like always we are a student. Anyamuti sir always listens keenly, intently to others. And again he starts giving inputs. So I am so happy that we are so fortunate that both the legends are here with us. Thank you so much, sir. So without any delay, I request Shailendra ji to cover as many topics as possible today. Tomorrow also we will try to take inputs from you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming and enlightening all the students in advance.
Yeah, Hari Om all again. So morning we were discussing many things. So before coming to this practical things, showing practical things, I want to give again some insights on some more topics on Ayurveda. So, do we require to give any medicine for any chronic ailment? Is a medicine required even if it is a chronic issue? Is there a need to give any medicine? Body can heal itself. We have to just facilitate it. But the problem is the patient will not facilitate himself. So we are giving a supportive medicine. So morning I was talking about diversity, like plant diversity, tree diversity, weed diversity, crop diversity. So from such a forest which has many medicinal weeds, basically herbs and weeds, if there is such environment, if you get one fruit from such environment, will you not get benefit of ashwagandha or shatavari or whatever medicinal herbs they are? Do we require to get that herb and make medicine, or from that region if you get a fruit which is suitable for us to eat, will it have that same medicinal property of that herb? Ultimately, that fruit which is edible, it will have the same property of that shatavari and other medicinal herbs around. But we need to get such fruit. That fruit will become medicine. Similarly, even if you get, if you make panchagavya from such gomaya, is it required or just this fruit is enough as a healer? Because all that values which are there in that gomayam will be there in that fruit. So will that fruit alone is not required? Will not fruit enough? Will that fruit alone be enough for our healing? Any chronic ailment? No? Yes. Ultimately, we need to supply that nourishment to the body, give right food. Toxins, whatever they are there inside the body, if you supply right food inside, right input inside the body, in all levels, in thought level, emotional level, physical level, if you create such environment and give that right input, then no medicine is required. Automatically the toxins also gets eliminated. But because of various other constraints, not having that availability of such fruit, then we have to depend on such medicine. Now if that medicine is being prepared in the conventional way, if that medicine is being prepared in the conventional way, like in the modern way, not following the standards of drying techniques or extraction techniques, even though we are getting so much beautiful herbs, potential herbs, the result will be reduced. So in all factors we have to see it holistically, and even if we are giving medicine, finally we have to educate them about their lifestyle and food habits, or else he has to depend on medicine for lifelong. So whoever you are, whether you are a doctor or an engineer, health is very important for everyone. So as a doctor also, you have a role to give proper health. A patient should not come back to you. So even if you are supporting him, he should never come back to you. He has to heal himself. So that's how you should treat him, right? So this cooking method is nothing but Ayurveda. Like how we are extracting the medicinal value from the herb, in the same way we are extracting the medicinal or that nourishment or that potency from that vegetable or from that grain. Okay, because we are not meant to eat that grain raw, so we have to consume like that. If you are having only fruit, then you need not follow any of these things. So retaining life in the food, that is first important, and properly nourished. Okay, so now we make ksharas in Ayurveda. So we burn some medicinal herbs into ashes and we soak that ash in water, and then we dehydrate that water, then we get kshara. So that we will administer like some in minute quantity with combination of other things, that will be very potent. Okay, so without drying that liquid, if you just add, like if you test the pH of that kshara liquid, it will be beyond 14 pH. It's very high alkaline. So that can be also used to make your soaps. For soap making, this alkaline water is acting like caustic, which is made from a chemical electrolysis method, but this is natural alkali. So even for medicine, like even for consuming the water, like even if one is drinking RO water, if you have to replenish minerals into that water, just add one drop, like 10 ml in 10 liters of water. 10 ml in 1 liter of water, 5 to 10 ml, the water gets alkalized. The pH will neutralize to 7, but it will have minerals which are suitable for us. Okay, so that ash has that properties. But the same water, when it is passing through all those herbs and stones and pebbles, it will have the same benefit. You need not even put your effort in burning that into ashes and then getting the extract and drinking it. Not required. So you have to just facilitate that environment. Now if you have bore water, it will be very hard. If the bore water is extracted beyond, like in cities they squeeze the water from 2000 feet. Okay, outside the city maybe some 100 feet, you are still getting water. So the taste of the water, if you see, the top water will be very subtle. As you go deeper, it will become very harder and harder and harder. Top water also has iron, the deep water also has iron, for example, but that top water iron will be different from that deep water iron, because the soil, like how the water percolates and becomes harder and harder and harder, when it is exposing to deeper hard bedrocks, the water also becomes hard. If you see the soil topography, top humus soil, then clay, sand, then stones, rocks, bedrock. Like that, the soil topography is being designed. So water also, when it is passing deeper and deeper and deeper, it will become harder and harder and harder. Okay. Now when you are mining the metal like iron, can you just give iron powder, add in water and consume that water? No. But fruit, if it is having iron, that is absorbable. But in Ayurveda, what we do, we make bhasmas. Like we make what you call rasa sinduras from different metals. It's a metal only. We can't eat that metal. It's a toxic thing. But we make some procedures like according to rasa shastras, we will melt that metal in high temperatures, and what we are getting some extract of it, right? How the practices were earlier, how the practices are now. That's why there is metal toxicity, which people say in Ayurveda there are many metals which are being used. If one is following the right practice, traditional practice, it will not be problem. The problem is with the process. If you just think that by heating it will be done, with high temperatures it will be done, no. The process of retaining that temperatures, retaining that whatever traditional method was there, if you retain that practice, then only it will work. If you follow the like modern equipments and modern temperatures and standards, it will not work. So I have seen some companies who still make the powder of a extract by using stone automation. They don't use metal. They use stone and wood, but they attach that to a mechanical instrument which will make the same effect of pounding. That would give a better result than just putting in a pulverizer and extracting some powders. So these all things are very important when we are going into a medicine. So now this metal toxicity, how we can avoid? Have you encountered asava process, extracting the metal, making into soluble form in asava process? Anyone? Any senior doctors?
So my teacher, he used to do Sanskrit tradition in a low IQ people who have low memory. He used to do Sanskrit tradition in silver. Silver again has been considered as a Yaman palm. So like again in Jamnagar, it is a Ayurveda, Buddha chemistry. There is a Kumari for iron deficiency. So they have found that Kumari directly and indirectly is helping in iron deficiency. Not directly speaking of iron protections. Significantly. That is again some technology that is phytoharvesting. When some gold is there in the to that area some particular plants are grown. And if that plants are given, instead of being gold directly, we are giving this
Yes.
phytoharvesting.
Yes.
In Maharashtra, all there are very good technology because our my life is not permanent, I want to share that with us.
they are putting gold copper coin. Now it is not copper coin, and the lot of tulsi plant. So the postponement of the menstruation, they are consuming this tulsi leaves. So as long as they are taking this tulsi leaves, they will not take it. No, they will take it. So the menses is postponed in natural manner. I discussed with this Abba, with Tulsi, they are giving all sorts of kind of education service. And what was speaking is they have been opening new lands. Lot of innovation there. It is possible.
Yeah. So metal toxicity, I'm talking about metal toxicity. So when we are extracting the metal, we can't just take the metal, right? If we need iron or copper or silver or gold, we make suvarna basma and many other process we use. Suppose if you are eating in a gold plate, silver plate, will you get the properties of that silver? Yes. Iron plate, if you are cooking something in iron, like you can taste that metallic taste. But when it gets oxidized, because metals are to be supposed to be there underneath the soil, but we are bringing it out. So when it is exposing to air, there is metal oxidation that will turn toxic. So when we are cooking in such containers, when it gets oxidized, then that will cause metal toxicity. Example, copper bottles. Everyone are now behind copper bottle. They pour water in copper bottle and consume. It will be safe provided you clean it well. If it gets oxidized, if you don't observe it, then drink that water, it will cause liver damage because of copper toxicity. So you have to be very careful. Steel is also not safe actually. Steel also has chromium and other compounds. So clay would be better. Clay also you can feel that earthy taste, but it will not, it's not glass, it will break easily. Clay also breaks easily. It's non-reactive. Any metal will react. It may be brass or copper, any metal. With food, it will react. So if it should not react, then it should not be oxidized. So if it should not get oxidized, you have to season it well. So for that reason only we season the iron containers and old iron containers. Like suppose you have old iron knife compared to new iron knife or iron containers, old iron utensils easily after seasoning also. But new iron containers, even after seasoning, it gets rusted very fast. Anyone observe this? Because those days iron was mined from the surface. In the recent past, we are going deeper, which get oxidized faster. So that's why iron toxicity is being added into our food when we are cooking in iron container without proper seasoning. So seasoning of metals are very important when you are using those containers in cooking. But still, if we want Suvarna Basma, we can get that gold from the diversified forest fruit. Even fruit has gold. Gold, it will be there in our immune system. If we are properly nourished, it will be there in our energy system. The food ultimately, whatever food we consume, will convert into rasa, rakta, mamsa, meda, asti, majja, asti, sukra, then prana, tejas, ojas. Okay, ultimately food it has to convert into prana, tejas, ojas. Why we want to break our head, whether it has calcium, iron, vitamin, every of these has to convert into prana, ultimately ojas, right? So to convert that into prana, tejas, ojas, it has to be holistic. So only we are looking for all these things. Now will a monkey think whether that fruit has calcium or not? Will it select and then pluck a fruit? It will only see whether that fruit is ripe and suitable for me to eat or not. A cow will see whether that grass is tender for me to eat or not. That's it. It's not breaking their head behind the nutritional factors which we have researched. In the same way, when you are giving lively food, there are Rishi Munis who will not eat anything. Even in the modern world, there are some people called breatharians who will not eat anything. They will take directly energy from the sun. They will get all gold, iron, calcium, whatever they want. They will get directly from the cosmos, from the Panchabhutas without eating, just from the sun, from stars. They will absorb. Are you aware? If you type breatharian in Google, there are still some people. You can, they have researched, like scientists have researched on them. They kept under one room, observing them without giving any food and water. They were allowed to only take sun. All the parameters, blood parameters were normal. No deficiencies. How? Because their conscious has been evolved to a level where they can absorb that energy directly, like how tree is absorbing the energy from the nature. We are not in that level, so we have to depend on secondary source of food, that is fruits. So we are not even in the level of consuming fruits alone, and we are not equipping ourselves a food forest where we can just eat a fruit. So third category is cooked food. So in cooked food, we have to at least follow the cooking methods. Fruits also, selecting of fruit is very important. Ripe fruit of that season, local. So cooked food, then it should be rightly processed, eliminating the toxicity and retaining the life in it. So that's what we'll be observing. So now to cook anything, we need temperature and time. Okay. Now this is my cooking unit. How can I cook in this? So this has some like jute fabric which has some grass in it. Okay, some carbon matter. So inside this also a cardboard box to hold the grass and a cloth. It can be a cotton, any natural fabric. So you have to make a cavity. Then to cook rice, I told already, we have to soak the grain for at least minimum 8 hours. In how much water? So you should not add more water. It should be just 1:3/4 water. Morning I was discussing about soaking time and all. You know why we should not add more water while soaking? There is a science behind it. If you add more water while soaking, the nutrients are leached into the water, and if you drain the water out, you are losing that B vitamins and other vital compounds. So if you don't want to lose it, and if you directly keep whole on the gas, that microbial activity is lost. That's why, and the grain has to be exposed on the fire for a longer time. Any traditional cooking practice, they first boil the water. Sorry. Any traditional practice, they boil the water first. Neelu esarki pedtaru. That is a traditional practice. They don't add the grain first. So for boiling water, you are allowed to keep more heat. Anyway, in cooking you have to lose certain compounds. So here, when you are using more heat, you are saving time. The water gets boiled very fast in high flame. But the moment you add the grain, they will remove the fire. Did you observe? Anyone observed how they cook on the firewood? They first keep the container for boiling. They soak the grain separately. Once the water reaches the boiling point, then they add the soaked rice. So this is the science behind it. So from the beginning, if you add water and soaked rice along with that water on the fire, the whole grain gets exposed to the fire for a longer time and the prana will diminish. To retain the prana, this was a practice. This science was not being told by anyone. So this I have observed and made an analysis. Okay, this is simple science. So we'll be doing the same thing now. So we'll be boiling the water. So I have used 1 cup of rice. glass. So we soaked 1 cup of rice in that 3/4 water. So now we'll be adding 4 times water. First we'll boil it. You can check the time. Anyone can start the stop clock. Okay. So the amount of time taken to bring the water to boiling point. Okay. Once the water reaches boiling point, we'll be adding the soaked rice and water, and we'll keep the lid. We need a proper lid to cover the container, so that steam should not escape. It bucket kavali or else vere ginna. Okay, this is fine. We can adjust. Okay, why? Because we should not allow the steam to escape. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be adding water.
Half glass of rice.
So 4 times water. Half glass ante kada.
ఇది half glass rice ka 2 glasses.
ఇంకొంచెం you can keep it. So first we will boil the water. So this is half glass of rice which we have soaked. So this I'm not showing only for rice here. Okay, this concept you can practice for anything, cooking vegetable or dal or millets or anything. So ultimately for cooking grain we need temperature and time. Okay, we'll bring the temperature and we have to retain that. Yeah, also. So now the container, if it's a metal, directly you can put a high flame. It has a tolerance. Metal can take the high flame. But if you are keeping a clay cookware or a soapstone cookware, it cannot tolerate high temperatures. It can't take temperature shocks. So any clay container or stone container, you have to first reduce your temperature. You should not keep high temperature at once. You have to keep the temperature on slow flame for a couple of minutes. Gradually later you can increase that into high flame. But initially you have to keep it on low flame. This is very important. Or else what will happen? The container will crack. But metal can take the temperature. But still my suggestion is to use slow temperature, slow flame only for entire cooking. If you don't have time, then yes, for a while you can increase the temperature only for metals, not for clay and soapstone initially. Okay. Now to know whether the water has reached boiling point or not, do we require to open up the lid and see? The more the number of times you open the lid, because of heat loss, temperature loss will happen. So how we can know? By steam. So once we can see the steam coming out, then we have to anyway open, add the grain and rice. At that time keep the lid again. At that time don't open the lid. When the steam starts coming out, then keep the container inside this insulation box. So we call this as Sarvam insulation hearth. Hearth means a place where it is hot equipments are kept. Insulation like. So now what happens? We are bringing the temperature to 100 degrees and retaining the temperature, but there may be certain loss, like the temperature can reduce to 90. It depends on how properly you insulate with right carbon material. And please don't use thermocol here, because that also can be used as insulation. But thermocol, when it is exposed to heat, it will release toxic fumes which gets induced into the food. So no thermocol, no artificial material. It should be natural material. Okay. So simple is carbon, grass, cocoa peat, coconut husk. These all can be used, or even dry leaves and twigs can be used. So to cover that grass so that it will not fall into your container, we are covering some cloth. It can be a jute or a cotton cloth, not polyester. Can be wool, but wool can retain the temperature, but nowadays you are not getting pure wool also, and it's not very ethical also. There is lot of exploitation in making the wool. You know how the wool is extracted? We have to take wool from the sheep, right? They are tortured. Earlier the wool was different. The sheep would have shredded its hair on and off over a period of time. That wool would have been gathered, and then they make yarn and then make fabrics from it. But now we shave it. It gets brutally ruptured with the blades and all. And human beings, we don't have mercy and pity on them. We want, and we don't know that it's being done like that. Finally we see that final product wool, but behind how they are tortured, we are not known. We don't know. That's why there are many people who are vegan community people are there who don't use any animal products because of this exploitation. It's not ethical. Similarly, silk, till the water gets boiled. Earlier, the silkworm, which makes the cocoon, will get hatched. The worm will fly away. Then that cocoon yarn the yarn is made from that cocoon by following the ginning process and then extracting the yarn. But now, no patience. They kill the silkworms in boiling water and extract that yarn from that silk. Now, are you comfortable killing certain beings for your benefit? Think, right? So there are ethical ways, like what Ayurveda, what our Shastras told was different. But now what's happening is different. That's what I am trying to connect in every of my topics. Similarly, honey. In Ayurveda, honey is being used. But now, you know how honey is being made? They are tortured. They are killed. For our benefit, we are killing the honeybees or scaring them or warding off them, moving them away from their house. What is honey actually? It's their food. We don't have any right to take honey. But yes, we have right of the honey when the bees will leave its beehive after Vasanta Rutu, when it makes new hive. So that beehive which is fallen, when you squeeze you will get honey, and when you store it for ages, that was used as a medicine, not as a daily food. But now daily we want honey lemon water. Sorry, it's not at all ethical and not our food. We can't digest honey, you know. As a medicine, it's fine. Why it is medicine? Because the bee will collect nectar from diversified flowers. Again, what it is having? Diversified frequencies, nutrition, microbes. So ultimately, it will take that nectar, mix in its saliva and keep in its hive and dehydrate that nectar and condenses it. That will become honey for their food, for their children's food. Later, when it makes new hive, that fallen hive will have some, that will be shade for the other beings, including humans. That was taken as a medicine. And honey will never spoil. It can be stored for ages together, and even one drop of that honey can replenish your gut disruption, microbial activity which got disrupted. So that was mentioned in Ayurveda. Now you decide whether you want to recommend your patients honey with some medicine or not. Now which honey you want to prescribe, think. Now I have made some honey. This is microbial honey made from that forest. this I call as Jivanu Madhu because it's not same like honey, but it's not exactly honey, but same like honey. So how it is made is from the microbes, from the forest rich microbes. Now instead of collecting nectar, I collect fruit extracts, jaggery extract, date palm extract, some sweetener, and I make this Jivanu Madhu. Time, based on the time, we can keep this for advanced session, but this is the honey which I make. Okay, Jivanu Madhu will taste like honey and you will get the benefit of that honey. I can't say 100% honey, but yes. It depends on the quality of the fruit juice, jaggery quality. There are many factors. Again, it will take lot of time. I have to explain the jaggery processing. No one is making right jaggery nowadays. Then the fruit concentration, like fruit extract concentration without using heat. So like that there are many techniques which has to be implemented to make this. Ultimately what I add is that forest microbial activity into this, and all the bottles which you are seeing here, including the biosalt Jaivika Lavanam which I made, that inoculant, everything is from this microbial activity. So this will give the benefits of that honey because of the microbes. Now how the bees are taking the nectar, so I am taking the extract of that sugars. You know, flower will not give nectar to the bee. In turn, if the flower has to give nectar to the bee has to give pollen to that female flower. So there is an exchange mechanism. That's how the harmony is in the nature. Then only it will give nectar. Nectar is obtained from the soil and sun. So I am directly taking the microbial activity which is helpful for making that nectar and adding that into the substrate and getting the same benefit of that microbial activity in this. Okay, now the water has boiled. What's the time? So now from when you are seeing this steam coming out, I think it took 2 minutes back it started steaming. We didn't notice. Ideally it will take 5 to 7 minutes for boiling water. Hey, add first rice and then water. So here we are adding the soaked water also because we have added very less water. We don't want to lose the nutrients and the benefit from it. We'll switch off this fan for a while.
Which one, sir?
Is it okay? Then for a while. So we'll add the grain and then we'll keep the lid on. Pettis, parallel. Muta pettis.
ఇది పెడదాం దాని సైజ్
If you keep bigger lids, the steam will touch here and it will come out from here. So lid should be properly, like it has to, even if you keep like this, it will come out. The steam, the volatile compounds will come out. So the lid should be properly placed so that it will, this is also actually not perfect lid, but we are just managing it now. So lid should be proper. Okay, steam should not actually escape. So it will take more 2-3 minutes for the water to reach that boiling point, because when we open up the lid, the temperature loss will be there. So if you don't use that insulation box, what will happen if you just switch off the stove? Temperature will drop, cooking will not happen. But if you use a container which can retain the heat like clay and soapstone, even after switching off, there will be certain temperature which will help you to cook the food. But with additional insulation box like this, naturally it will retain proper temperature. Especially to cook dal, you need 100 degrees. If the temperature is 90-80, it will not cook. You need 100 degrees. So here, for cooking dal, you need to remove foam. When you add dal, you will get lot of foam. You have to keep removing that saponins. After that, you have to keep the lid and then keep inside the box. But for rice, foam will come, but you need not remove it because we are separating starch and fermenting it and consuming it. So that is fine. But for dal, that dal's fermented water will not suit for fermentation, like it will not suit for everyone. So there are other methods for making them. That's why we are not going behind fermenting the dal water. Okay, just soaking, while soaking add the microbial inoculant, that would be enough. And soaking time of dal, if you are soaking dal beyond 4 to 6 hours, it gets fermented. If the dal gets fermented, it will not cook, it will be grainy. So overnight soaking of dal will not be helpful. So ideally soak your dal the moment you get up in the morning, at least 3 to 4 hours, that would be enough. At that time add your inoculant that will eliminate certain anti-nutrients like saponins. That is still that level, it's fine. But if you allow it to ferment more, then it will not cook. But rice and millets are different. Okay, this is one instruction. Steam has to come out. Sundar. Fan undi kada. Because of the fan also the temperature will reduce a bit. Okay, we'll just wait. Then when we keep this rice inside, we have to wait for, like we are waiting for 10 minutes here for example. So ideally this will take, now steam is coming off the stove, or else it will first off the stove. So immediately we will keep inside the cavity and we will cover this hay box from top, okay, and cover that box completely. So we are bringing the temperature and then giving the time for the remaining cooking. Alter double Moses. Then mean than a baru pet. Now next question is, how come, in which samhita I don't know, but when you are cooking food it has to exposed to light and air. Now here we are not exposing the food to light and air, then how it is beneficial? This is the second question. I don't know whether you got this question or not, but I know because I have every questions and I have answers for every question. Because I have been hearing from many people and whatever they tell is 100% correct. The food should not be cooked without light and air. Like the food should be exposed to light and air to remove the doshas. So in our technique, what we are doing is we are taking the help of the microbes to remove that dosha. Okay, so then we need not worry about that light and air. And initially we are bringing the water, we are retaining the prana, and then we are keeping. Now hardly 10 for, you have seen only for 2-3 minutes we have exposed the grain on the fire. Earlier it was water for 9 minutes. Now directly on the flame it was only 2-3 minutes. So the prana of that grain, that conscious level, whatever you call it, so it is not deteriorated completely. It's retaining the temperature. So this is the concept. Okay, we will see that after a while. Now coming to honey, Jivanu Madhu. So yeah, this I will be using for all these things. Next, coming to
Shall we keep there? The box stay में बिठो. box stay में बिठो.
ఇక్కడ పక్కన పెట్టండి సార్, పక్కన పెట్టినా సార్.
అదే fan లో.
So we'll open that after 10 minutes and we have to separate that starch and again keep it back. So with this, the beauty is many people don't eat food properly in the morning. They say I don't have time to cook. So if you follow this technique in the night, till next day morning, the food will be hot. It will get cooked and food will be hot. And Ayurveda says we should not consume food after 3 hours of cooking. Like we should consume the food within 3 hours. 100% correct. So understand here, the food when it is cooked, okay, we are killing the pathogens and other things. Along with that, there is some depletion of that microbial beneficial life also. Now it is only the raw material. Now because of other ingredients like lively ingredients and the gut flora, Whatever we consume, it gets digested. That microbial activity will help. Now, if the food is allowed to be cooled after 3 hours, what will happen? Because there is no life, now pathogens will take over to deteriorate. That's why cooked food, which is the food which is cooked in pressure cooker, especially in summer, if you cook in the morning, by afternoon it will spoil. How many of you have noticed? But the same rice cooked in mud containers, it will stay even for 3 days fresh. If you cook in firewood, on gas it will stay fresh even for 1 day. And even on the gas, if you follow this technique, the rice will be fresh even after 3 days. So why Ayurveda told about that the food should be consumed within 3 hours? Because of the cooking method. So if you are allowing the microbial activity, that life in the food, that food will have life after 3 days also. Pathogens are not attacking. Now why pathogens are coming and spoiling the food? Because there is no life. Now when there is some dead matter, pathogens are like scavengers. They have to come and clean it up. So for that purpose they are there. That's why the food gets spoiled. Because there is no life. We are not supposed to eat unlively food. So they are there to clean up. Similarly, inside our body, we get infections, right? So during infections, what will happen? Pathogenic bacteria will be more, but can we test any pathogenic bacteria? Is there any test where we can understand the number of pathogens which are there? But there is indirect test, WBC count. Based on WBC count, we can tell that there is infection. Actually, WBC is actually helping. But how can we tell that there is infection? WBC increases to control the pathogenic bacteria. Now, why there is pathogenic bacteria? When there is undigested food, when there is ama or dosha, pathogens will grow. Means infection will come. Simple. Now, to control that toxicity, pathogens have a role. Now these pathogens, I correlate them as Rakshasas. Devatas and Rakshasas. So both are good. Why we have to think that Rakshasas are bad? When they have been created by the Almighty itself. They have a role. They have a place. But when they are coming away from that role and away from that place, then there is a problem. They are there in the patala to break down certain things. So from the higher sattva loka or from the higher energies, it is coming on the bhuloka. From there it is consecrating, going deeper, deeper, deeper. And there different beings are converting it back and giving it back to the higher lokas. So urdhva lokas and adho lokas. So urdhva lokas have certain properties, adho lokas have certain properties. So all those beings like daityas, danavas, rakshasas, if they are there doing their duty, not disturbing other lokas, then it's fine. But when they are trying to come, then the problem will come. And why they are trying to come? Because when there is imbalance, they try to occupy, to clean up, right? So why Rakshasas were coming on the earth? Whenever human beings are trying to misguide, like when they are not living in that harmony and misusing that freedom of Arishad Vargas and all, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsaryas, then the mind is polluted, so Danavatva will override. Because it's their cup of tea. Right? So now, similarly inside our body, pathogens will take up. Now pathogens I correlate with a JCP machine. Like suppose you have your waste, kitchen waste. Okay, regularly day to day if you clean up, it's not load. But if you accumulate for 1 month, it's difficult to lift it up. So you have to call one lifter or a JCP machine to lift it. Similarly, inside our body, regularly the toxins whatever are there, any food, even it is amruta, even it is very good, after it takes the essence from it, that residue has to be flushed out. If you think that, oh, it's benefiting for me and hold it, no, that will become toxin. Even healthy nutrition also, after, like, food is only a carrier of that energy. Once the energy is being absorbed, that food has to be expelled out. Okay, if it's not expelling out, when it's happening, when we are overloading the system, when we are not giving time for the body to do its activity, when we don't sleep properly, automatically everything gets disturbed. So in our Ayurvedic practice, Ritucharya, Dinacharya, we have some protocols when to eat. If we are eating after sunset, the Agni will be less, so we can't digest the food. So undigested food causes ama. In one day it will not happen, but over a period of time it accumulates and cause imbalance. So why you should entertain that? Rather eat your food before sunset, lighter food, and if at all you are hungry, eat fruit which is easily digestible. Simple. And now you will not have any undigested food. Now there is no ama, no pathogenic bacteria, no infections, no fever. But now when there is infection and fever, if you are taking some paracetamol or any medicine to control or suppress that fever, symptoms are gone, but the toxins are remaining. So that will again come up back, accumulating in other places, and like we get arthritis or some other problem wherever the toxins are accumulated. So ultimately we have to allow the toxins to be flushed out. Now we have primary mechanism for the body to flush the toxins out. If that is not being given time and space, then the secondary mechanism is infection, fever, cold, cough. Like it will start from cold, cough, then fever, infections, then viral. Okay? Virus is not a living being. Virus has a program. It's same like a computer virus. So the modern science, whatever it tells, it's their theory. But if I have to tell in a simple science, so body is generating certain program to handle that toxicity which was being not addressed, or we disturb that process of handling. Like every time when we get fever, when we use paracetamol or antibiotics to suppress it, the toxins accumulates over a period of time. Later, every season change, there are virus which is natural phenomenon of the nature and the body to give that virus. So that is a mechanism for flushing out the toxins. No medicine will work. Even in Ayurveda, you can give supportive medicine. In Ayurveda, you can give medicine to push the toxins out, but not the virus out. Right? So ama dosha, like all the toxins has to be eliminated. Then automatically virus disappears. So simple is fast. Already Ayurveda mentioned about fast, at what condition, when we have to fast and all. It's not like every time we have to fast. There are some specific time how to fast. Okay? So when you are not giving anything, you are giving rest to the body. If you feel weak, yes, you can have some prescription. Like what I recommend is just sip coconut water, right coconut water, or some sweet citric fruit juice which is not having any fibers, only the juice, which will nourish you, balance your electrolytes so that you will not get dehydrated, and keep sipping water. Now I'll talk about water. Then the body will be like, it will have its own system to push the toxins out. But if you take any vaccination, okay, so when we take any vaccination, body naturally it will create what you call antibodies, right? So it's induced antibody. So it's again a toxin made from different metals and animal compounds, animal blood and other compounds. So the science theory is fine, it is working, but it is not addressing the root toxins. It is addressing only that viral program. Virus will disappear. Next time it will not come. But How many of you know that there are variants? So how many vaccinations you take, we'll get different variants of it. Ultimately, the body will create other program to push the toxins out. Now, what are the toxins? It can be electrical, electronic, radiation, cellular, how we have seen catching a mobile phone, how it will deplete our energy. Even that is also toxin when it is not dispersed out from the body. So, like that, many toxins are there. So, we have to allow the body. That's why in our custom, Navaratri, Ekadashi. So, before only we will equip our body, facilitate our body to detox by fasting, being on fruits. Some people will do Nirjala fasting also. I don't recommend that for everyone because Nirjala fasting is very high state. You have to first equip yourself properly and then go to that stage. All of a sudden, if you do dry fasting or water fasting, that will cause more complications later. So, best is fruit fasting. So, Ekadashi we have being on fruits, ripe fruits. Okay. If not possible, at least throughout the day be on fruits, have khichdi in the evening, simple digestible khichdi. And how to break the fast? Have khichdi, like already you know to make moong dal khichdi with ghee and all. So simple digested food after fast is very important. We can't just, many people after fast during the Dwadashi, they eat all oily food and spicy food. That will again disrupt the gut. So after fasting, it should be very lighter food and then slowly we can give the other foods. So now we will, how much time? 5 minutes?
13
No, totally 30 minutes. Oh, we can remove them. Any spoon? You have any spoon? Spoons. Nice. You can see it's very hot, burning hot. Anyone wants to come and check? It's like an oven. Rice got cooked. So we'll be separating the starch. So ideally we are supposed to keep it back for a while so that the remaining moisture gets absorbed. So you can see. You can also taste the rice. In fact, in my sessions I cook on pressure cooker, clay cooker and this, like I make 3 variations and I make them taste the rice also. Just wait for few minutes, let it cool down. Or else it will be difficult for them to taste. We'll just wait for 2 minutes. So what's happening here? The gas cylinder which she was using for 1 month, she could use for 6 months it seems. She only told.
Oh.
So we are saving 5,000 rupees, right? So cylinder which is coming for 1 month, she gets for 6 months. She practices this method. So like it's saving not just money, because this LPG is very valuable. It's not ours. It's a petrochemical. We are mining from other lokas. It's a Rakshasa Sottu. LPG is Rakshasa Sottu. It's not ours. Okay, but we are using petrol, diesel, LPG. Okay, we are riding on it. We are sitting on that vehicle and riding also. Okay, but we have to show the gratitude because we are using it. But use it scarcely. Like these are fossil fuels; they can't be regenerated. So at least firewood, it's a sustainable. Like if you are growing trees, even if you are using less firewood with these practices, that ash again it can be utilized. It's a circular practice, right? Everything is turning back into soil and again growing, again using. Actually, earlier days, firewood, they were never cutting trees. If you cut trees, it is papam. They used to only pick up the fallen branches or dead branches, they used to just take it. So for that, they used to go into the forest and collect and store. But earlier, growing trees was a practice. Like we were having the ecosystem where even if you don't sow, there are other creatures which was facilitating to allow the plants to regrow. But now we are only destructing the trees, not growing, so we don't have firewood. I was asking him, do we have source of firewood? So it's difficult now. So we have to use gas or cow dung bricks, cow dung cakes. Like when you have cow dung, we can make biogas, and that residual slurry we can again make briquettes. So there are many things which we can make. It's a sustainable economy. So here, LPG we have to show respect. We have to use sensibly. So we are saving fuel, the resource, and time of the amount of time the food is exposing to the fire directly. So there is more life. Okay. So do we have pressure cooked rice by chance? Like you have? Did we cook? Then we can show the difference.
Also cleaning by the time.
Yeah. Okay. So coming to dairy. Okay. Morning we were talking about this rice starch. So this is kali, rice starch kali. This is like buttermilk. Okay. Tomorrow we'll be serving you a dish like curd rice based on this and some nut milk. So why not dairy? We have a traditional practice of using buttermilk, milk, ghee, curd, paneer and whatnot. Why we should not have? Any child, when he consumes milk, the composition of the milk varies according to the child's need. If there is a male child, the hormones, growth hormones which are supplied through that milk will be different from the female child. Even if the same child, from time to time, according to the child's need, the hormones will be different. The growth hormones or the composition in that milk keeps on varying. Okay, the milk supply is based on that oxytocin hormone, which the mother connects to the baby and automatically it's being released, and then through that hormones the milk is being formulated. Okay, it's fine. So milk is being formulated. So now imagine one mother can give milk to other mother's child. Na? Why they don't give? It will not be suitable. Unless and until that mother creates a bonding with that child. It may take a while. Suppose a child is there, he will not have mother, like mother might have expired, then someone has adopted that child. So then she has that love, affection, care, that bonding. that milk will be suitable. It will take time. But normally if you try to give, It will not suit. That's why it's not recommended, and no one will give also. Or else if you like other person's child, if you are very fond of, you can give, but it's not advised. It will not be suitable. So now a child after consuming mother's milk, when he is first consuming cooked food, how many of you have noticed a child happily eating the cooked food? Will he accepts or rejects? First mudda. Rejects. Because intuitionally we know what is food for us. But if that same child has been given fruits, ripe fruit, he will happily eat. If you want, you can see my Instagram. I have shared one Anna Prasarana, whatever we do. I did fruit prasarana for a child. So first, he was eating fruit happily, ripe fruit. And he was also having that Jiva Jalam happily. You have to see that, like his expressions. It will be very beautiful. I was really, like, that was my first time when I was doing for a child. So, we are connected with fruits naturally. But over a period of time, that's why children will make lot of fuss if you have to feed them rice and make them eat. Okay? So, what happens when you continuously try to feed them rice? Slowly over a period of time, the microbial activity will establish inside the gut, which will be helpful for digesting the grain over a period of time. And now give him roti without giving rice. He will not be happy. He wants rice. That's why a person, even after adult growing up, if you are rice eater, if you are not being given rice and you will be fed only with chapati, you will not be satisfied. You want little rice at least, because you have developed a microbial activity which will be helpful to be suitable for rice. That's why from our tata muttata, from our grandfather's time, whatever grains they were eating, it's easy for us to adapt to those things locally, regionally. So that's why we have different cultural, traditional, local foods which are suitable. Every food will not be suitable for everyone. It will take time for that adaptability. So many people are nowadays talking about millets. It may be good, but not in every regions. Whatever matters, it may be millet or rice, cooking method is very important. Soaking, fermenting, separating starches, these all are must. Now grain processing, again it's a different concept altogether. Now we have machines, we will just remove the bran and we will get the grain and we will cook. No. There was a process of soaking, sprout activating, and then drying, and then hulling, and then hand pounded rice. Like earlier they used to take whole paddy. They used to soak, sprout activate, then dry, and then pound, and then remove the husk and then use that grain. That's the correct practice. Even dal, tur dal. Whole tur they soak, sprout activate, dry, sun roast, and then split into dal and remove that husk. If you do this process, we don't need any fiber. That outer fiber, all the nutrients which are there outside the fiber, it gets encapsulated inside that kernel. We don't need any fiber. We can't digest the fiber, you know. We are behind fiber foods, but we don't have that ability to digest the fiber unless and until you cook properly. But many people, like how many of you found that red rice, Navara rice, it will be very heavy for us to digest if you don't pound and cook it. That outer husk that skin has to be removed. So grain processing is again a big subject. Okay, you can pass this rice in the meantime. Okay, this is about cooking. Now we'll go dairy. So what happens? You can taste this rice and feel like you know the taste of pressure cooked rice, na? So you compare with this rice. Energies also will be more compared to that pressure cooked rice. Now coming to dairy. Solar is good. If at all, it is only the sunrise absorbed and transferred. But nowadays they are using polycarbonated sheets which will release toxic fumes into the food. So, and they use black paint, emulsion paint that will release fumes. Because of black, it needs to absorb the light, reflect the light. So that is bad. So technology is good, but how you are making the technology? So how to make black paint now? Take charcoal, add castor oil and make a black paint and apply as a layer to reflect the heat and transfer that heat. Simple. Don't go for emulsion paint. Now how to replace that polycarbonated sheet? Use glass, non-reactive. And I don't go behind it also. I use sun for dehydrating. Just cover a cotton mosquito net, create a canopy so that it gets aerated properly, hot air will be circulated and gets dried. For cooking, I need direct sun reflection, it gets cooked. That's it. So technology is good, but the deeper aspects are important. Okay. Now coming to dairy, now animal milk, it may be cow, A1, A2, buffalo or whatever you name, goat milk or camel milk or cow milk, any mother will give milk for its children. Like cow also give milks for calf. Okay. So actually cow milk also is for calf, not for us. Then Ayurveda talked about milk. Ayurveda, Lord Krishna was consuming milk, he was fond of butter. If you understand the Krishna Leela, he was the one who was unleashing the calves and allowing that calves to have their share. He was not taking the milk, he was allowing that calves. And the butter he was taking from others' house, what actually represents behind it is, he needed pure heart like a butter. He was correlating that. So he used to take that pure, from the butter from the purest peoples. Or when he's taking that butter, he's giving some blessings for them so that they have some prosperity. So there is lot of reasons behind Krishna Leela. We are behind only Krishna having butter, milk. Lord Krishna also used his little finger to lift Govardhana Giri Parvat. Can you do? Then why only milk, only butter? If you really want to follow Lord Krishna, there are many teachings which Lord Krishna has taught us. Follow them, na? Why only milk and butter? We don't want other teachings. We go to temple, bow our head, offer flowers, offer food and take the prasad and come back. Follow his teachings. Imbibe them in your life. That's what God wants from us. Right? So, but how are people were using milk and butter and whatever? Still in many tribal areas, they don't extract milk from cow. I had been to many tribal areas. They have cows, they protect cows, they are with the cows. But they will never tie the calf, they will never milk the cow. They will be there in their ecosystem. That's it. So, but people who were consuming dairy products, still there is a methodology. The milk was boiled for 6 to 8 hours on a latent heat, not on the flame. Why 6 to 8 hours? To retain that nutritional value in that milk. And the hormones will minimize. And they were never consuming milk. They were cuddling it, making it curd. Then before sunrise they used to churn the curd to make the butter, and that butter was kept under sun. With the heat, the ghee was extracted. And that ghee was stored in the pots for 3 months for it to get matured, and that ghee was medicinal. That was used as a medicine. Just little bit, that will add all those values, frequencies. But now Who is following that? And cow was grazing grass, diversified grasses. Now if you tie the cow and keep at one place feeding the very heavy grass, it will feel heavy, it can't digest those much fiber also, it needs tender fibers. And if you see to any goshala, it will eat little bit and it will stamp off all the grasses because it will never digest for them, so it will stamp. But we are intelligent, we chop the grass and we mix different things and we'll try to feed. It will be heavy for them. But again we are intelligent, we found certain fermentation techniques to simplify that fibers and then feed them. But they were practices like that, but no one is practicing those methodologies. So if anyone wants to still have dairy products, have your own farm, have your own cows, leave the cows and calves all together, allow them to have their share. Morning one time alone, take little milk, do all this process and make ghee, buttermilk and butter and offer to God and have it like a prasad, that's it. Not this much ice cream, paneer, not like bhog. Just take like prasad. That will help in inoculating your microbial activity. So that was the logic behind our ancestral practice. They were ethical. So understand. That's why I have come up with alternatives, like we need buttermilk, we need that microbial activity, so this is one thing. Now this is Amalaki Kanjika. So I taught you how to make Jaivika Lavan. Okay, this is biosalt. So now how many of you know asavas, kanjikas? So basically you take amla, slit amla, take a sterilized glass bottle, add amlas, fill up with sterilized like suncharged that pond water, what I tell, then add this biosalt or this Jivanu Madhu. Okay, so this will not allow it to spoil. The microbes in it will break it down, simplify it, soften it, and all that extracts are being leached out into that water. And this extract you can use for the next time as an inoculant. Now these are not required. Okay, this itself will be useful for the later batches. Now, is there any preservative? This you can store for years together. I have seen Ayurvedic products, many products, amla juice, like this is only amla extract, that's it. Little water for, like I have other okay. I have other methods where I'll not even add water. So to make the process easy, I'll add maybe for 3 ratio, I'll add half ratio water just for it to release faster. Okay. So like this you can make this is tomato puree. Tomato. Did you ever imagine preserving a tomato? You can smell and pass. Don't touch it. These are very sensitive. All the pickles which you make, normally they are sacred. Like they are kept outside, in, like up in the attic with muddy achar, and you are not supposed to take every time. But these are with me, but I don't allow people to touch. I'll allow them to smell. These are very sensitive because they are resistential bacteria. They are still, all these are at least 1 to 10 years old. At least 1 to 10 years old. Okay. So preserved with either Jaivika Lavan or Jivanu Madhu. And there is a process again, it's little bit, it will take time for us to understand. So don't mix the caps like no. Just smell like this and don't blow out air into it. Just take, just smell it and pass. Okay. Don't exhale out in this. These are very sensitive and been preserved since years. And these are only samples. Like I make little more. and I am traveling with these since many years. So that is tomato preserved.
Sir has to conduct the workshop again tomorrow. Another workshop elsewhere. The 6-7 workshops are there. So he has to show all these things. He came brought all these things all the way from Hyderabad.
And we can plan for a complete 3-day residential program to learn these things later.
There you can taste 3-day residential workshop only for this.
Okay, anyone? This is chili paste, green chili paste, at least 8 to 9 years old. Green chili paste. How many of you know ginger garlic paste? Without refrigeration, can you keep? This is being preserved outside the refrigeration, all of this without any preservatives. This being as a life being added, that's it. Anyone imagine tamarind juice? This is tamarind juice. So in Sarvam cooking methods, life is easy. You know how I cook my food, even if I have to cook? I add this biosalt to vegetable. How is that? Freshly made ginger garlic paste. You know ginger garlic paste? You have smelled any time? Is it like that?
Yes.
Strong, fresh. So what I do is, I cut my vegetable. Add my microbial activity biosalt for vegetables. Tomorrow morning if I have to cook, today I cut my vegetables and add my biosalt. Again, cutting a vegetable is an art. If you cut a vegetable, if I cut like this, like if a vegetable is like this, okay, if you cut with metal knife, it will taste different. If you cut with iron knife, it will taste different. If you cut with ceramic knife, it will taste different. I have wooden knife, I have ceramic knife. Like that, metal will react. And again, if you cut a carrot like this, it will taste different. If you cut like this, it will taste different. So cutting is an art again. How to cut a vegetable is an art. The intention, like if you cut with right hand, it will taste different. If you cut with left hand, it will taste different. If men is cutting a vegetable, it will taste different. If woman is cutting a vegetable, it will taste different. So just try to observe these subtle things consciously after going home. Try to experiment yourself. Cut with right hand, cut with left hand, cut like this, cut like this. Taste each and everything subtly. There will be subtle difference. Not major, not gross. There are subtle difference. But there will be difference. Okay, try to experiment. So what I do, I cut my vegetables.
Name all these things. We don't have to pass. Just
Okay.
name what all.
Yeah, few things I.
Actually, give it.
Maybe few more I will pass. So how I cut my vegetable, add this. So 50% of my cooking time is being saved because of the microbes. Microbes will do the job. Then I'll bring the water to temperature. I add these vegetables, keep in the hay box and open that and put all my spices whatever I want. Like if I want zeera, I have zeera. If I want mustard, I have mustard. I need not cook them. I need not put tadka. Chili, I need not cook it. Everything is pre-cooked by the microbes. And all the toxicity is being removed. It's only that values, that too it will increase the potency to 50, 100 times. So I'll pass a masala, like this is biryani masala. And this is vanilla extract. The cap is not very airtight. So be careful. Vanilla extract. You know vanilla ice creams and all? It's been made from this vanilla pods. Okay? The extract of this. So then I make pickle without salt, without oil. It may be lemon pickle or carrot pickle. So gajar pickle. So this is gajar pickle. So then this is flower extract. Sampingi flower extract. I have biohing. Hing is also toxic, you know. Though hing has some properties to help for some releasing of gas, but it will have its own toxicity. And outside in the market, whatever hing you have, it's adulterated with maida powder, salt and other things. It's not at all pure. Okay. So whatever hing I make is the purest form which I extract even from that impure one. I call it as biohing. I didn't brought this, but yes, I have that biohing. And this is nut butter, sesame butter, peanut butter. This I use for healthy fats, and this is at least 5 years old. Nut butters. This is peanut butter. Like that I have coconut butter. For that it will take time. This
3 full days.
This is coconut butter. Coconut, it's like ghee. Coconut butter. That is sesame kernel butter. Nuvu pappu. So like that we can make many things. So the secret behind the preservation for so many years is not just this microbial activity, the process of making, retaining the life in it. Okay. So we will stop this here and I will demonstrate one simple thing. Dabba. Water unna? అయ్యా కొంచెం చాలు చాలు
మందార పూలు ఉన్నాయి
కొన్ని చాలు
attention
let them see and anyone heard of ginger juice? Ginger juice. Bio ginger juice, basically bio ginger extract. This is new innovation of mine. Even she doesn't know.
Normally the amla juice, ethanol juice and aloe vera juice which we get in the market, they contain so many preservatives and they are literally toxic and harmful. We think amla juice is very good. They add lot of sodium into it and all those other chemical preservatives. But sir, whatever is showing, whether it is ginger juice or amla juice, they are all pure, natural, without any harmful chemicals.
Normally in my workshops, I'll not reveal any names. I'll pass and ask them to smell and tell the name. I do some activities like that. Okay, so something similar I'll be showing here. So showing all the practicalities will be difficult, but
Now looking how to make all these things. Okay, you have to go back and make these things. There are lots of videos of Telangana sir on the internet also. You can refer again and again and make all these things.
This is basically orange extract, orange peels and extract, which I use for cleaning liquids and all. This is soap nut liquid. This is soap nut liquid. So I have many like rose extracts and other things. So I'll be showing some similar method which you can start with to understand the life cycle of that microbes and that process, which is similar making to this, but this is different step. First if you learn this one, then you can go with that. So this one I'll be showing.
So this is the most basic step to start your own fermentation. So you should learn this, and after that, this is like UG level. Then you can go to the PG level, then go to the PhD level. So this is UG level.
So this is again from Ayurvedic concepts of asavas. Okay. So how I got introduced to this? This is called as garbage enzyme by Dr. Ruzukon from Thailand. So what she used is, she used all the waste peels which we discard, like lemon peels or vegetable peels or flowers or leaves or any waste from the kitchen, not cooked one. So not cooked one. So apart from anything cooked, she takes all those peels together and she has some formula to make this extract. Okay, she used to term it as garbage enzyme. So I had a chance to go to Thailand once. I got exposed to fermentation practices where it was similar to Ayurvedic practices which I have seen in my Guruji's ashram, like asavas, but they were doing more intensively in food. Then after coming back, when I was learning more, like already I know about basic asavas, then vinegars and other things. You know, in Ayurveda we use ippapuvu. Ippapuvu we make some alcoholic, it's not actually alcoholic, but partially alcoholic we use in medicine. Like that we use chenaga panta vinegar, like we spread a cloth on the field of chena, and before sunrise we collect the cloth and squeeze the water and ferment it further to make certain vinegary like compound. So these are used in some preparations of Ayurvedic medicines. So I had some basic knowledge of it. Then I had a knowledge of making banana sava, like banana, jaggery and fermenting and making extract of it. So with this basic knowledge, when I have seen various things, I got connected to all these practices. Then after coming back, I was researching more about those fermentation techniques and I found something called garbage enzyme from their data which they have given for reference. It was eye-catching for me and I started digging more deeper about it, and then everything was in Thailand in their language and I translated and I tried to know about them. So later, like this was in 2006. So I thought this is very much required in the modern society to be spreaded. So back then I was not making all these things completely. I was just having basic idea about some practices which later turned into these all things. I started with amla, this same thing, without preservation, how to do. Okay. So now what I did, I took this as a reference and made many things and formulated my own practices, my own methodologies later. So people started it terming as bioenzymes because garbage was not connecting to people. So initially when I was explaining people about this, people were not listening or not trying to come forward to make this by listening to the term garbage. It's only mental block. So people started naming it as bioenzyme. Ultimately, for any fermentation, as I told, you need a tight container. Especially for food, you need glass bottle. If it is not food external purpose, plastic bottle is fine for initial purpose. Okay. So you need to see whether the container is airtight. This is not airtight. Okay, it looks airtight, but it's leaking. Okay, don't get misguided. If you just reverse and see if it is not leaking, don't assume. Properly see, turn, shake, and then see. So better to take a airtight plastic container which has a proper threading lid in the first place. There are some management techniques to make it airtight, but if you don't maintain well, it will again spoil. So one technique is keep a plastic cover and then keep the lid airtight, then it will not leak. But if the cover tears in between, then again you will lose whatever you are doing. What happens finally is you will get demotivated, you will not do further. That's why if you take certain precautions, when you see the result, you will get motivated to continue it. But if you fail, you get demotivated and you will think of doing it again. Okay, but failure is a step for success, remember that. So don't step back from your failures. Learn what is there happening from your failures. Okay, so there is a golden rule to make this. 1:3:10:10, 15:20. Sorry, 1:3:10:15/20. So 20 is the container size. If the container is 2 liters, you have to add 1 liter water, means 10 parts, like 20 units container, 10 parts means 1 liter water. This is 2 liter container, assume. So 10 parts water, then 3 parts peels. Her contribution is making some valuable product from the waste, from the garbage. So she was using peels. You can also use whole fruit, but whole fruit is for us to consume. We need not waste it. So peels anyway we will be discarding it. Okay, so use the peels. So many people term this garbage enzyme, bioenzyme as citric enzyme. If you see online, many people term this as citric enzyme, but unfortunately it's not citric enzyme. It's bioenzyme is good term because there should be diversified peels. If you add only lemon peels, definitely you will get nice aroma, but you will not get the benefit of that microbial activity, because just now in the morning we were discussing since morning, you need diversity, you need diversity. So even in this you need diversity. So if you add diversified peels, 3 parts, means for this 300 grams. So out of 300 grams, maybe 10 grams of lemon, 10 grams of flowers, okay, 10 grams of some carrot peels, 10 grams of some flowers, like that, go 300 grams of diversify. So if you don't have 3 parts of that, you can add water, add 1 part of jaggery. Basically 1 part of jaggery, 3 parts of peels and 10 parts of water, 20 parts of container. So when you add 1 part of jaggery, means 100 grams of jaggery, 300 grams of peels, 1 liter water, 2 liter container for this ratio, like that 10:3:1. So you can calculate for any ratio. After taking airtight container, sterilization is important, but plastic container you can't add boiling water. You have to reduce the temperature and nicely clean and sun dry it. Preferably use natural cleaners for cleaning, like soap nut, something like that. Okay. Now what will happen when you are adding diversified peels like this? Okay, I am adding tulsi, parijata, okay, different leaves are there. I have some ash gourd also here. Okay, some coriander stacks also, some neem leaves also. So how much ever I am adding, so much diversity, microbes I have, also the medicinal values of those neem leaves or vetiver, like whatever you are adding, you will get the properties of that. Suppose you want lemon aroma, don't add now only more aroma. For that I will be showing second step. But first time when you are making, add diversity. Don't worry about the smell initially. Add some aromatic thing like mint, vetiver, lemon, okay, but don't add more. Add some ratio of whole together. Then keep it airtight. Now what will happen ideally is, now there are microbes. Ideally if you don't add water, don't add jaggery, if you just add peels in an airtight container, it will stink, it will degrade. Okay, because the microbes will not have food. Microbes are in anaerobic condition, no oxygen. The same peels, when you leave outside, it will not stink. It will decompose and turn into soil. It will get composted. But if it is tied in a plastic cover or a plastic bottle like this, thrown aside, it will stink because of no air, no food for the microbes. It will die, so pathogens will develop. Now what we are doing? We are giving water and food also. Panchabhutas are there in this. Air, earth element, like all the peels are earth element, water element. Okay? Then air element. What is fire? The metabolic activity of that microbes is fire element. Okay? The metabolic activity of the fire of that microbes is correlated with fire element. So this has all the, and space. 5 elements are there. Now what will the microbes do? The microbes from the leaves and peels and all, it will multiply because it has food to eat, jaggery. So they multiply and they will break down this peel also. And because the peels are soaked inside the water, the peels will become softer. With the integration of microbes, it will break it down. So in that process, yeah, I think. So in that process, what happens? There are some gases generated by the microbes activity, and it is anaerobic. So if you don't release that gas, basically it is carbon dioxide and basically it's carbon dioxide, ozone and other gases which are being released. So daily you have to release that gas. If you don't release, microbes will die because suffocation. Microbes need oxygen. So many people try to find shortcuts. So people, what they do, to make it atomize, they pierce a hole so that gases will go, but pathogens also will go. There is other technique of piercing a hole, keeping a pipe, bringing that pipe inside the water so that only the gases will go, pathogens cannot go from the water. That is one technique to release the carbon dioxide. But still oxygen is